Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. As always, I'm Alicide, so grab yourself a beer and let's talk some video games. So, happy 4th of July weekend all you Americans out there, and for those of you outside of the US, I apologize for the drunken binge that pretty much everybody has been on this past couple of days, and for all the drunk and rude tweeting and Instagram photos of explosions. And so I hope you've been enjoying some good food and drink with friends and family. I know I have. I've been enjoying my backlog of games that I've just sort of ignored. So let's get into today's news, or this week's news, because we actually have stuff to talk about this week. Woohoo! So the big story that we should probably lead off with is the fact that Don Mattrick, car salesman enthusiast for Microsoft, has left for greener pastures, or deader and browner pastures, in hopes of making them greener, over at Zynga. That came as a bit of a shock to everybody this week, as he was pretty much the front man for everything Xbox, and this is a horrible time for him to be leaving, like 3 months out from a massive release.
Don Mattrick leaving Microsoft for Farmville producer Zynga.
So they've announced that Steve Ballmer, the current CEO and overseer of everything Microsoft, will be taking his post. I know Ballmer is pretty enthusiastic and he's a pretty good speaker, public speaker, but he's lost his shit a couple of times on stage, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll see if I can't plant something up here for you to enjoy. Alright, so the next story isn't so much news as it is, we'll call it public interest, I guess. Maybe. So if you haven't heard of OC Remix, it is this awesome community of musicians and producers that come together and make these really, really cool albums together of like reimaginings and reorchestrations of old video game music. And this week they released a massive tribute to Final Fantasy VI, my most favorite Final Fantasy in the entire series. So this was just a huge nostalgia check for me. The album spans 5 CDs, it's got 74 tracks, it's over 6 hours of music, and it is absolutely fantastic. I haven't even gotten through the whole thing yet because there's just so much music. And the best part is, if you're feeling a little tight in the wallet area, it's actually free right now. So if you go over to ff6.ocremix.org, you can actually download it completely free with artwork and commentary from all of the wonderful people that put the album together. That's what I did until I have a little more money, in which case I'm gonna go and buy the solid like disc set with all the nice artwork and stuff that they have with it. So go check that out if you're a fan of that music. If not, well, it's still some pretty good music anyway. There's a huge array of genres that are explored. There's jazz, orchestral, symphony, opera, there's techno, there's dubstep, there's anything you could possibly think of, it's on this album, and it's a remix of some of my most favorite music in video games. So go check it out. And last up on my list of things to talk about today, Edge Magazine produced an article this week declaring PS4 the winner of E3, which I can't really dispute since Sony's press conference basically eradicated Microsoft from the entire proceedings. But they printed this on the cover of their magazine, which I think might be a little bit excessive because, alright, so I'd consider myself a pretty well-informed gamer. I know what's going on, I pay attention to this sort of stuff, but for an uninformed consumer that's maybe just learning that Sony's putting out a new console and Microsoft is putting one out and they're undecided as to which they should purchase, if they saw the cover of this magazine, they would pretty much just have their mind made up for them, which I don't think is particularly fair, even though it might be right in this case. But yeah, something just tweaked me wrong about that. As a consumer, I think you should be as well informed as possible before you shell out that much money for something, especially since it's something that's going to be bringing you entertainment for the next 5 to 10 years. And I know a lot of media outlets do this in declaring a winner of E3, but you know, printing something that final just doesn't seem right to me.
But I'll still be buying a PS4 anyway.
So I think that about wraps it up for things that I had to talk about this week. As always, if I did manage to miss something massive or forget a particularly interesting story, please be sure to remind me of it down below in the comments. I do like remembering things on occasion. That's always good, right? And if you enjoyed the video at all, please remember to leave a like, or if you want to come back and have a beer with me next weekend, make sure you subscribe so you know when I put this together. Thank you very much for stopping by and grabbing a beer with me. I do appreciate it. So until next weekend, I'm Aliside. Cheers, everybody, and I'll talk to you next week.